Mhm. Recording, okay. Okay, yes. For those who are just starting to watch the presentation, yeah, who see this seminar later, we've just looked at the topic and now we're thinking of our definition of what students' independence is and why it is important. Nothing else happened before I started recording. Okay, good. Now I'd like you to share your ideas and agree, disagree, maybe add something, see what you can add to yours, which you would like to add to yours. I remember Helen was ready first.
I was?
Like about 2 minutes ago, you said that you were ready, so probably you have your... No, okay.
2 minutes ago, I said that I was doing different tasks. Yes.
Okay.
But I can start. I have my opinion about that.
Okay, so please do. Everybody listen, see what you can add, or maybe you have a different definition and different reasons for its importance.
Okay, I believe that students' independence is first of all an ability of a student to analyze information themselves without strong recommendations from the tutor, without strong directions, and it is ability to find all necessary information which they believe they need. So that is what I think about their independence.
Yes.
Yes.
Can I add something?
Of course.
Yeah, I have almost the same definition, and but I have one sentence more. It's like to check their mistakes by themselves. So not only analyze all the information and find this information, but and analyze this information, but also ability of checking and analyzing the mistakes. That's all.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Ed?
I have more concrete points, like student answers questions himself, like student doesn't need Russian at the lesson, student improves his skills in a language without teacher's help. I mean, he reads something, he watches videos.
Mila, hello, we can't hear us.
Hello.
Yeah. From what Anastasia said, I believe the key words are without teacher's help, right? Okay, well, anything else to add?
I wrote the ability to use the language without any help, and this includes vocabulary, grammar, structure, everything we teach so they can use it by themselves.
Okay. Mila, we are discussing the answers to this question.
Sorry, I'm late, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, anything to add from anybody else?
Same.
Then it seems like it's about what we all think. And why is it important? Why is students' independence important?
Because they need to go then and practice language in a real communication, and without teacher it's impossible if they aren't independent.
I think that it's important as in real life situations, students are supposed to be left alone and without any help, and they should survive. So they should study it in classroom first. How to do it.
I'm not sure it's without any help. Perhaps the person they're having a conversation with might be helpful, right? There is a friend who can help, but without the teacher's help, right?
Yeah, but sometimes it's like when you're alone abroad, looking for some information, not talking with somebody, but even like looking at the signs or something.
Yeah.
So alone, being alone.
Yeah. Okay, agree. Right.
And also, I think it's also a matter of confidence. So when the student feels his independence, he becomes more confident in his using language. and it also helps him in real communication.
And can I add, and also it's some kind of responsibility of the student. So when he or she works alone, he or she can feel this responsibility of this lesson and of his or her work.
Yeah, responsibility of what they are actually doing.
Yes.
And that's very convenient for the teacher, actually. Well, the student's responsibility to learn, not the teacher's. All right, here is approximately what I have. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's working. Yeah. Okay. Read it, please, and tell me if it's close to what you think. Oh, I can move the windows.
Yeah.
So it's approximately what you said, and I'm happy that we are on the same boat here. All right, and I was also thinking like, what visual image I could think of in connection to this. So to me, the student independence is moving away from our students being like this. Like, I'm sure you don't want them to be like this all the time. Like, looking up, like, what will the teacher say? Is it correct or not? And teacher, please tell me, am I doing the right thing or the wrong thing? And turning them into this. Like, yeah, I can do it. Me who can cope with it and do this thing. So it's just to create a visual image of what the change should be. So when I was doing a research online on what other trainers or what other teachers say about students' independence, I discovered that, in fact, what is being spoken about is students' independence outside the classroom. So it's something that students do when the lesson is finished or from the lesson, in addition to the lesson. So somebody said about looking for information, right? And so it's about communicating online, searching online, like communicating in real life, reading books, like extensive reading outside classroom, watching film, watching TED Talks, and so on and so forth. This all is extremely important. But some of our students, when they come to our lessons first time, whether they are elementary level or an upper intermediate sometimes, they get to us in this condition, right? And if I tell such students to say, to go and watch a film, they might not be able to do that, actually. They might not be able to, they might not be brave enough. Not because they lack the language, but like, what, me, how? And in this respect, I remember myself as a student of languages. For example, when my German teacher tells me something online, I tell her to go and do this herself because like I can't do that. Come on, I'm A2. It's impossible. But like what we can do is step by step. Yeah, like first in the lesson, like if teacher could provide me with some work which could show me that I can actually do that, it would help me very much. So this is work outside the classroom. Yeah, this is preparation for work outside the classroom, and what we can do during the lessons to, as Mila said, to help the student with this confidence, to help the student develop this confidence, to be able to watch a film in German. Oh my God, I'm scared even when I'm. So, how could you, as teachers, help me, for example? Well, we're going to analyze a lot of situations. There will be teaching situations. And you, not me. I will be silent and I will be in here. You will need to decide whether they contribute to the development of students' independence or not. Frankly, most of these situations are taken from the lessons I've observed in your, in this school. Most of them, not all of them, but many of them, and we've talked about them with many of you. So, tell me to flip the page when you're ready. I will be flipping pages, and what will you be doing?
Ticking.
Well, unfortunately, you can't tick here, so probably on a piece of paper, write the numbers. Tick, it's probably for, this presentation was designed for a different context originally. So put the numbers of good ones, the ones which contribute to the development of students' independence, on paper. Put the numbers. Okay.
Okay.
Ready? Go. This is a collaborative task, so please discuss together. You need to come to some conclusions.
So, number 1. Girls, is it good for independence?
I'm sorry, don't forget to discuss why as well, okay?
To discuss what?
Why?
Yes, we are in process, but in silence.
I think 1 or 2 seconds is not enough here. Maybe the teacher should give more time.
Yes, it seems to me that the first one is not so good, because 1 or 2 seconds of silence and then the teacher gives the answer.
I think if student has difficulty answering the questions, we should paraphrase them, and he should answer, he or she.
Yeah.
Ask
So
more
we said
questions.
number 1, it's not good.
No, me too. Okay, not good.
Okay, what's
Second
about
one?
number 2? Yeah.
I think it's also not correct, because we can give a chance to a student to do this gap fill activity and not do it together.
And here everything is about together.
What type of practice is number 2? Isn't it practice for accuracy? So if it's for accuracy, we should correct them, right? To accept or reject answers.
Yeah, but first give a chance to do everything to a student, and then maybe do this. Not do it together, like every sentence together with a student.
Maybe it also depends on the level. If it's like an elementary level, it would be quite acceptable, like to practice it with a student and to drill it at the same time.
Be 1 or 2 to do together, and then to give an opportunity.
Well, probably, yeah.
So the second one is not good.
Not very.
Sure. I think it's pretty good when a teacher tells the student that it is wrong after answering yes. So a student can think about it herself or himself. Correct.
not clear what it means that it differs in shape or style from the given one. Given where? In teacher's answers?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So it means that it's something wrong in the answer.
Well, I think it can be appropriate, like to ask. Well, for example, when the student makes a mistake or structurizes his sentence not very correctly or not in a good way, it's probably good, like to give him the impulse to analyze it and to paraphrase it.
Yeah.
So
yes, really, just not to correct, but to ask and how you correct it.
Yeah. Maybe it's okay.
Yeah, and why?
It makes him think, yeah, and it makes him like practice structurizing the sentences and speaking and thinking and speaking. So again, it's independence. It's actually, yeah, it motivates his independence in this case.
Yeah, sure.
But I think we should give clear instructions here. That here is mistake. You should find your mistake.
Yes, of course.
Maybe.
Okay, and the first one is pretty good too.
I think number 4 is quite good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Again, it's the independence, and it's important here not probably to point to the mistake for the student, but exactly like to ask him to find it, because it's also motivating.
Kate, can you?
Okay.
Flip the page, yeah. Probably here it's not a very good example because it's better to ask student questions.
Yeah, we were talking about this, about eliciting grammar. The student should elicit the rules from the context of the text, for example, not the teacher explaining the rules.
Yeah.
Not good for independence, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, the 6th one is okay. Just about the independence. Complete independence.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very good that time limit is set.
But sometimes it can be really hard for students.
Stressful, let's say.
Yes.
When time is running out. But it's independent, so it's just what the student needs.
I think number 7 is good for independence.
Yeah.
Great for group study.
Yeah, some of them are created for one-to-one lessons, some for group. I mean, like in general.
Yeah, sure. That is why it's so nice to give answers for homework. Yeah, so students can analyze and ask if something is not clear. The next.
No, it's not very successful example. I think probably if it's a high-level student, we can ask him to read the rules and then like tell them or tell something what was new for him, but not read together. Yeah.
What to do with these rules if not to read? Just curious. So why would we have this grammar bank?
to read, but not together.
Not
So
together.
it's not
Yeah.
like teacher reading and then again retelling something. So sure, you can propose to a student to read, to look through.
It's like for home assignment to read, or in the class they read, and like just how to do it properly.
So you've asked questions, you've discussed all the questions that you've prepared here, and then you want to make sure that student maybe really understands it. You can propose to look through these rules and to ask questions if there are any. It depends on student, sure.
For example, when you have present simple forms, yes, and you can ask just, can you see the difference between he, she, it, and are you with they?
That is the previous stage. Kate, you need to watch our seminars
yeah.
about presenting
I'm
grammar.
sorry, yes.
The
Well,
ninth.
number 9 is good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's like eliciting.
Yeah. And ask questions, good.
Sentences are in context, also positive.
Oh, no, the 10th one is really bad.
Really bad.
What is bad?
The 10th one, like maybe
While.
correcting every mistake. Or
Yes,
what?
because while the student is speaking, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard even at the beginning of the lesson, it's not really good to correct the student on the warm-up stage.
Yeah. At least every mistake for sure.
While the student speaking, yeah.
Maybe if he's making the same mistakes over and over again, then it's okay, but not every mistake, definitely.
Maybe, for example, just not to interrupt the student while he or she is speaking, but after he has finished, just try to repeat him some sentences and focus him on this sentence. Are you sure it should be like that? Or
as a feedback, yeah?
Yeah. Number 11 is also not very good. The production stage is like one of the most important stages. It's like the finish of all. Yeah, independence is really important here too.
Okay, so
I can flip.
we've done.
Are you putting the numbers on a piece of paper, right?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I think number 12 is good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Yeah, it develops the independence for sure.
But will the student remember this word if the teacher just gives it to him? I'm not sure on the last sentence.
What about the team one?
Yeah, well, if he has like the complete total difficulty with this word and can't paraphrase it in any way, so probably it's the only in this last case we can just give this word, so the student will pronounce it and probably remember it this time. But I think that most of the students can paraphrase and find some other alternative, and it's good for development of the independence.
Number 13 is nice.
Good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Do you think it's nice? What do you think?
Yeah.
Maybe we should add some hint or something like this, or no?
That's fine. They can understand it from the context.
Yeah.
Yes, there is context.
Okay.
Maybe for some adjectives it doesn't work at all. But for nouns it works, usually works.
I think number 14 isn't really good, and we should give the student the list of their mistakes, and they should correct them themselves.
Yeah, probably just underline the mistakes in the text and
highlight
them.
Like and write spelling mistake, vocabulary mistake, grammar mistake. Like
but
that.
okay, when we're talking about independence,
students will correct them independently.
Yeah.
I try to correct tests like that, so students can do some revision.
Next.
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, next.
That's not good because teacher does all the work here.
Yeah, and that is only first reading. Maybe after all exercises that teacher has prepared, maybe only then to give those definitions.
Yeah, sure. Number 15, first they read just to answer one or two questions that we've prepared.
Yeah.
Like reading for gist, right?
Yeah, they don't need full understanding. "16 is not bad.
Yeah. It's pretty good for independence. Number 17 is also good. Yeah.
But again, we need some clarification. What kind of activities, kind of topic we are talking about? Which questions to answer first and which later, I agree, but if it is like lesson plan.
Yeah, okay.
You
I
done?
think it's better to ask this before the lesson, before you start planning the lesson, like about the topics, for example, but not during the lesson, especially about the order of activities. I think the teacher knows better which order it should be.
Okay, we are ready.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I'm waiting for, like, I thought you were ready, but then somebody started talking. This means that I need to wait for your signal, yeah, like not to interrupt your discussion. All right, so look at the list of good ones. How many are there?
How many? Yes.
Yeah, how many good points are there? You numbers of situations. How many numbers have you got?
8. 8.
8. Okay, great. There are 8. Good. Answer key. At least this is what I think. But I believe this is what I was taught, and this shows to be good.
At the beginning, we had some difference.
Yes, because we have the third one, yes. 2. And it seems to me that 11th, no?
14.
No, 11th was no, and 13,
No?
yes.
14 there was.
14 also was no, and 13, yes.
Sorry.
Okay. So where should we go back to understand where you made
Number 3.
Yes, number 3.
Yeah, let me see which slide it is. Yeah. Let's look at it. Why is it not good? Let's see. Any ideas?
Maybe because we have you're like to change it without any explanation. Maybe we should explain that.
Well, first, yeah, the student be aware why their answer is wrong. I think the situation here, you are like, I've done it more than once, the seminar, and you are the first people who actually have doubts about it. Look, I meant that very often our students give answers or produce texts that are, or produce sentences maybe, that are different from the ones in the answer key or in the model. They choose a different structure of a text, for example, or something. And teachers just say, okay, it's not what is written in the answer, sorry, not accepted. I've seen it. And I don't want to, I don't think that it's a good idea to do this, because very often still, even if the structure of the text is different from the given one, it might be very logical and clear to follow. The ideas that the students give might be different from the ones in the teacher's book, but they are still acceptable. Even when there's this exercise, odd one out.
Yeah.
Very often students choose the word or the picture which is not in the answer key, but as long as they can explain their choice, right? As long as they can prove their position, and you as a teacher, you see like, yeah, it's actually logical. There might be this logic. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to accept this answer.
I agree.
It's not wrong, it's just different, and the student is able to explain why. All right, or the text is easy to follow anyway. So maybe you've been training introductory sentence in each paragraph in an essay, but the student somehow coped without it, and well, it's still very easy to follow. Well, right? You may say, well, like next time try to actually train, experiment with it, but don't tell your student that there's something wrong with what they've done. This is what I meant. Okay, more questions?
Number 6.
Number 6 is a good one, right?
Yes, good one.
Yes. And,
yes, it's good. What about 11th one? Because I wrote it down in good ones, but
I wrote that it's bad.
Yes, really? Maybe it was just my mistake.
Neither am I.
Mila, something happened.
Okay.
You dropped
Yes,
out.
with my computer. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It was. I was surprised. I have to let you in again. Good. Number 11.
No, it's not a good.
No. Yes, I'm sorry. It's just my fault.
It's just that you put the number somehow.
Yeah.
However, I'd like to highlight this point here.
Okay.
I have some points to discuss with you. And in number 11, why exactly is it important not to skip the production stage? What happens to the student's experience here if you skip the production stage and if you don't skip the production? Why is it so important?
If we skip it, we can see, do they use it freely in their speech?
The student doesn't understand why he learned this structure, like what was the reason, the goal of learning, if he cannot use it when talking about himself. Yeah.
What you're saying is very close to reality. However, in course books, very often there are, this guided role plays. Which is mentioned here, where it's actually clear where you can use the situation in your life. It's not exactly production. It's a guided role play. And how is production different from a guided role play?
It's not controlled.
Yeah.
And it's not controlled. And what does it mean? What is not given?
No structure. No vocabulary is given, so everything is closed. And just some.
Maybe students just have the task.
Yes, just a task is given, but nothing else.
Just the task and the situation, and then which structure the student follows, what questions they ask, how they cope with the situation, it's their business, right?
Yeah.
The main thing is that they cope with it. And why is it so important for them to be able to cope with the situation?
In real life,
their confidence, maybe.
Sure. They this is how they don't think okay, if I manage to ask these questions and do this role play, I will probably be able to do this at the Victoria Station in London, right?
Yeah.
But when they actually do this, and the person at the information desk doesn't understand what they want, and they finally phrase and the person understands, yes, and gives them the needed information, so then they'll cope. They don't imagine, they have this experience already. Okay, so this is about number 11. More questions, more points which you
Number 14. Can we have a look at number 14?
Number 13.
14.
14, yes. Here we were talking about correction, yes? In the way it's described here, it's not very good because the teacher actually does all the job for the student. I heard you discussing how to do this. Mila said that it's a good idea to underline the mistakes, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Anastasia added that you should probably mark them spelling or whatever, grammar or something else. Depends on the system you've developed. Yes, they're all good. And there is a difference between just underlining and highlighting the mistakes and putting this mark, spelling or vocabulary or something. What's the difference? Which is more independent, or which contributes more to independence? Just underlining? Yeah.
Just underline.
It's more difficult.
Because why?
Because student needs to brainstorm all the spheres, wide range of language. Yeah,
they need to research.
Maybe if they have time, if it's homework, for example. But they need to decide themselves what kind of mistake it is. And also, one more thing which I do, just as an idea for your lessons, I just analyze the text. Well, I know where the mistakes are, but I write, okay, vocabulary mistakes, 3, spelling mistakes, 15, articles, 5, grammar, or for example, I say grammar tenses, right? Like, okay, 7, yeah, like, and then I give this list to the student. And the student has to find them in the text. I don't even highlight them. It's another way also, well, with teachers' help, and well, you can make it even more student like, you have mistakes with article. How many did you find? 3. I found 5. Look for 2 more. Yeah, like, this way you can vary the teacher's control and help. For example. Okay, more questions? No? No, okay. If there are no questions, I have a few comments. Number 13, you were talking about hints.
Yes.
About hints.
Yes, because is it enough? What do you think?
Look, what do you think would probably be the first question?
Yes, first stage.
After that, well, of course, we hope that the student gives the answer immediately, yeah? But when you start with the most challenging one, yeah, who knows, maybe your student is already able to cope with it, right? Check first. And after that, if the student doesn't cope with the first question and they still don't know, or look what I do. I say, what do you think? And then I don't proceed until I hear any opinion. Whatever, even if it's a mistake, form your opinion. What do you think? What are your ideas? So the student should have the courage and confidence to produce any ideas. And then I, as a teacher, don't say, no, it's wrong. But, oh, you know, like, there is something in that. I see your logic. Like, look at this. Something like that. Yes, like, don't reject it completely, but somehow lead them to a better one. Or very often I just say, now I see why you're saying this. But look at this. When they explain, I see why you're saying this, but look at this one. Look at this answer. Look at the part of speech, whatever. Okay, so this is number 13. 14. Then number 12. You were discussing this teachers giving the needed word. Look, we as teachers, actually, it's our job to provide students with needed vocabulary, right? So there's nothing wrong in actually giving this word. But look, first, the student needed this word. So it's not that we feed them, but they ask them, they asked us for this, right? Then we give them a chance to cope with this situation themselves, so that I, the listener, understand what they want to say anyway, even without this word. Okay, you see, you can cope even without this word, no problem. Here's the word, you can actually use it. Like, I still provide with help, provide the student with help, but only after they've managed to cope with themselves. Okay, number 8, what were you discussing? About reading the rules. You were talking about like how to do this actually. Once again, as I told you many times, I don't know what's the best thing to do anything. I think that this is a good way. You might invent a new one, a better one, I don't know. Right? This is what I do. You look at the target language in context. Right? We analyze it. I give a set of questions, or I ask the questions. We find the answers with the student, or the student finds them himself, him or herself. And after that, we go to the rules. And I just say, now read them. Is there anything I didn't mention, or is there anything we haven't discussed yet? Now, once again, reading the rules is also a reading task, right? Like, why would I read it? I already know this all. And practice shows, yeah, once again, experience shows that if you don't give such a task, like something I haven't told you, find something we haven't discussed, they just don't notice these details. And of course, it's a good idea to exclude 1 or 2 small details from your presentation, for them to be able to find these details in the rules, if you're planning to read the rules with the student. Well, very often there are so few rules that you just don't do this. Okay, hello again. Okay, then there was something about number 3. Let's see. Hello.
Bad connection.
Huh? What did you say? Okay. So
we've discussed it.
Yeah, we've discussed already. Number 17. Yes, this is a challenging thing for the teacher, but it's very good for the student and for students' independence. You can try it out before the lesson. You can try it out after, during the lesson. So if you do this before the lesson, you as a teacher have time to prepare. If you do this during the lesson, then you are ready with options. Okay, now we may, for example, work with this text and your mistakes during the lesson, or you may do this as homework and we'll discuss it next time. Now I have a video to work with or a reading text with a lot of vocabulary. Which would you choose for today? Or say, would you like to do this task in writing or speaking? Or say, would you like to do this all by yourself and then check? Or would you like us to do the first couple of sentences together? Like regularly give the responsibility to the student. It's the student who chooses what we do. Well, sometimes you may insist on what you want to do, and you need to be ready with the explanation why you want this. Right? There is some sound on the background. Can you please turn off the micro? Some drilling. No? No, Anastasia, it's not you. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It was somebody. I wonder who it was. It was, right? Yeah, somebody's drilling something there. Okay, so this is what I'm here. Yeah, like you don't have to do this every lesson, but if you do this from time to time, yeah, your student will be feeling that it's them who is in control of the learning process. Which is also very good. Good. So, is there anything I wanted to talk about? Just a second. In number 1, remember you were talking about time. How much time do you think your students need to be able to give the answer? You agreed that 1 or 2 seconds is not enough, but how much is enough?
It depends on the student and the kind of question.
How?
So if the question is like very basic, it's obvious, maybe it's less time. If it requires students to think, then of course we should give him more time.
Which time would be appropriate in many situations? How long do you think you as a teacher may wait for the student to come up with the answer?
before they say, I don't understand?
I like this answer, yeah. I don't understand, I don't know, I give up, no, I don't remember the word, and so on. I already told some of you maybe, like, for example, like this is from my experience as a learner too. Yeah, like as a German learner, like I completely go sometimes, completely down. And I can't remember a word which I remembered like 5 minutes ago. And it takes me like maybe 30 seconds, I don't know, to remember it. And when I realize that I'm thinking and it's not coming, it's me who says, like, well, no, I don't remember. But of course, you need to look at your students. Some students get irritated when it's too long. So just look at them. Look at your students' reaction. And like gradually, yeah, like some people will get nervous after 5 seconds. And they say, oh, I don't know. Okay, tell me you don't know. I will know about it. Yeah. But, so gradually lead them towards this independence.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I need to leave you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, we're finishing. It's okay. Yeah.
Sure. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Eye contact is really important.
Yes. By the way, once I had a student and he could be in silence like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And I said to him, hello, are you here?
Did he give the answer in the end?
No, just silence.
Yeah. So, well, maybe 2 minutes is like, somewhere in the middle of these 2 minutes, you should at least try to ask yourself, well, are you thinking or are you just sitting? If you're thinking, if you are looking for the answer, but if it's just silence, then you need to intervene. Okay, good. In number 5, yeah, like what should a teacher do instead of explaining and giving more examples? And
ask questions, paraphrase questions.
Yeah. And this is also, this is one of the very traditional things in teaching within communicative approach. But why is it so? Because it helps the student to learn themselves, not like feeding them as those dogs, but like the student is learning themselves, like their responsibility, as someone said. Okay, number 8 we've already discussed. Okay. Seems like that's it. Just a second. Oh, okay. You've given most of the answers yourself. I just went through the details which you doubted about or had questions. So, well, of course, here in this seminar, we didn't have a chance to look at all the variety of possible situations which influence the development of students' independence and which don't influence that, right? But it's like, I think that thing to start with, like to give your thoughts some direction, to help you start noticing what you do. Like look at yourself, what I'm doing now, is it too much control or maybe not enough support even? Oh, by the way, I would like to, one more question. In which cases would you not insist on developing the students' independence? In which cases would you would you act as in this wrong situations, or in some of them? What would be the reasons to do that?
For example, with students of really lower levels.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they just can't answer.
Sure. Yeah. You look at the level, yeah, like maybe they don't know and they can't know it, right? Then you provide them with much more support, but gradually let go. Yeah, like first you support them and then gradually let go. Okay, more situations.
Maybe when the student is too lazy or too not independent by himself or herself. So maybe it depends on character of the student too. You know?
Yeah, if you see that the student is shy, not very independent in their life, so
because they can start irritating.
Yeah. Or in fact, Anastasia, those people who get angry and like get irritated when the teacher doesn't give them the answer, they are in fact shy, and they are so shy that they are afraid of not being able to answer, and that's why they get aggressive. You know, so it's the same thing from the other side. They are still not independent. And as Katie said, we can start with it and then gradually, like step by step, little by little, give the student less support. And it's possible to develop their independence anyway, but start with a lot of support. Okay. Anything else? Any other cases when we wouldn't insist on independence?
No, and unfortunately, I have to go too.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was really interesting. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
See you later. Yeah. Yes. All right. So you may think about more cases. Yes, it's that the message is that you need to look at whether the moment is appropriate or maybe you really need support now.
Yeah.
The key thing is awareness. What exactly are you doing? Okay, good. Well, once again, we didn't manage to cover all possible situations. It's impossible. And well, please start looking at what you're doing. And I hope both you and your students will benefit from your trying to develop their independence. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was really useful.
Thank you very much, Kate. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. And meeting.